at 4:35. I apologize that y'all get the JV mayor today, but we'll try to work our way through it. And Mr. Robin has agreed to lead us in identification.
Bow with me. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you this afternoon and we're just thankful for another beautiful day outside. Lord, I ask that you be with each of the people in this room and as well as our city. Just continue to help us prosper and make the best decisions possible for what we need to do moving forward. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Danny, with our pledges.
Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. And that leads us to number 3, which is approval of the minutes of the meeting for August 12th, 2024.
If there are no changes, I move to approve.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion passes. Brings us to number 5, which is approval of the minutes of the meeting of August 15th.
So moved.
Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, brings us to
Mayor Pro Tem,
number 6, yes.
confirm who the second was.
Danny.
Danny.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. That brings us to item number 6, which is public comment. Comments from interested or interesting citizens.
Neither has signed in, sir.
Neither has signed in. All right. Okay, that brings us to item number 7, which is consider and take appropriate action on proposed CDC budget for the 2024-2025 with financial update.
Good morning, or good afternoon, sorry. I just wanted to have an opportunity. This is now my first full year. We had a great opportunity for us to grow not only the businesses that are existing here in Kenyon, but also as well as the new businesses that are here in Kenyon. If you see into the agenda, you'll actually see the proposed budget that was voted on in our August 15th meeting for the CEDC. You can also see our balance sheet as well as our history that we had for our sales tax, as well as a commitment and the contingencies as of July 31st. Last year, we spent around $61,000 in marketing and promotions in the effort for just promoting our businesses here in Kenyon and Kenyon is total. And then last year was a big year for Kenyon EDC. We spent close to $717,000 in our projects, including like the Lumberyard, Pondaseta, Whataburger, Creek House Honey Farm, that's Phase 3, HTO, and Tire Works. So again, we've been very busy. We have more growth coming, but again, that's kind of where our budget is and where we've spent our money. And I was just going to open it up to see if you'll have any questions or anything that I can help clarify or answer. And we're not slowing down. So y'all will see that in closed session tonight. There's a couple more that are coming in, and I met with 3 new businesses coming in or wanting to come into Kenyon, Texas. So again, with the money and investment that you have blessed, and also the Kenyon EDC, we've been able, and we're knowing that the investments are going to be able to increase our sales tax and property tax for Kenyon going forward. So we know that that was a big investment of close to $700,000, but we know that that money is going to be replenished and we're going to be able to grow even more.
All right.
Great.
Any questions or discussion for Stephanie?
I move we approve the CEDC budget for 24-25.
All right, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you guys very
Thanks,
much.
Stephanie. You've done a great job.
Thank you all.
All right, that brings us to item number 9, which is consider and take appropriate action on Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Board of Trustees election.
You missed a break, Cody.
Oh, well, let's go to number 8, which is consider and take appropriate action on recommendation from the Board of City Development for the FY 2024-2025 budget.
Yes,
Didn't mean to skip you there, I apologize.
that's okay. BCD met last week, which is a great group of people. That is a great board to meet with. There are people that are very in tune with what we're trying to do and what the state law is on what we can do. History Board of City Development is actually the group that works with the local hotel tax fund. If you go back and read the history, BCD came about because a long time ago, the commission wanted to build a park or do something in town, and they needed a group to go out and do fundraising. And so that group went out and did some fundraising to build a park in town. That would have been like in the 60s when that was formed. And somewhere along the way, that group also then became in charge of working with the local hotel tax. You can see from the memo that we had multiple requests. Our usual requesters with West Texas A&M, the Chamber of Commerce, Main Street, Texas, Panhandle Plains Historical Museum, Canyon EDC, and then in the last couple of years, we created an additional projects category. What happens is each one of these organizations receives a letter from me which states it's time for you to send your request in. They send in a request for funding. If they're approved, we'll talk about those, what happens. If they're approved by you all in the budget, then we move forward. And each quarter, they send receipts where they have made payment for items that are legal for us to reimburse. The state is very clear on how local hotel tax can be used. For the most part, it can be used for things that put heads in beds. That's like convention centers, convention staff. When you go to, if you go to TML this year, there'll be somebody handing out the bags at the Houston Convention Center. They're probably not TML employees. They're probably Convention and Visitor Bureau people of Houston. And one of the things they give them is that. They give them that service. You can pay for things in kind. Or you can pay for advertising, which would help bring people to our local hotels, which would cause them to pay the local hotel tax, which would increase that tax and give us more money to do those things. If you remember, it's been several months, if not a year ago, Joe had a consultant come in and talk to us about a Visit Canyon. I just mentioned that in the memo briefly, just to state that that's something we're moving toward, something we'd like to have. At this point in time, Stephanie in the CEDC she's wearing kind of two hats there for us, and she's doing a lot of those efforts that will be handled by a Visitors Bureau in the future. So as we met just this past week, we went through each one of the requests, the group did, and they went through and determined how much they would like to award each one of those groups based upon previous years and also based on the requests from those groups. I anticipate this year we will close out a little over $400,000 that we will receive in local hotel tax. That's going to be an increase in our short-term rentals. Thank you all. We went through the short-term rental, if you remember that. We're now registering them and reaching out to them and encouraging them to make their tax payments and to register. That has increased those payments, and our 4 hotels are also doing very well this year. The next couple of months.
Part of that process also helped the hotel payments go through ACH.
Yes.
As well.
And they are responding well to that. So all of that process, which you helped us do, has helped us increase these funds and also make that more efficient for us and also for those vendors. we had lengthy discussion. We met for probably an hour and a half, over an hour and a half, as they discussed each one of these items, knowing that one of the things that Joe and I have talked about is that we see a Visit Canyon sometime around October of '26, sometime in '26, that program coming into play, and that will change how we make these awards to these groups to a degree, but we think it will benefit them in the future. So there are the requests and also what those groups have awarded. If you've got any questions about the BCD, local hotel tax, or any of those items, I'd be happy to answer that.
The lion's share of the EDC's portion that John mentioned is advertising,
It's 100%.
100% advertising,
Yes.
including
YouTube ads,
what's the Google,
Google ads, anything geofencing, like anybody that goes down in Powder Canyon, we say, hey, come down to Canyon. So it's all.
Everything we receive is that. And it's what they're doing is helping us get a jump on the start of that Visit Canyon. They will have things in place such as a website and other items
Yep.
which will already be in place so that when we start the Visit Canyon program, we don't have someone just walking into an office not knowing what to do or where to go. We will already have some of these initial projects underway, and EDC will then back out of that role, and Visit Canyon will assume that role.
working with Chamber of Commerce on a tourism services agreement. We have that in draft format. That would be a 2-year agreement for them. That is on the agenda for hopefully for our next meeting. And so it's a lot of things that they're doing, just formalizing it. So, and it's in that amount of 42,000. So
Yes.
there's 4 categories in there. There's 2 they get on a routine basis, but it will be on the agenda after I get a chance to meet with them in this month.
They are currently also fulfilling several of the missions of a visit program.
You may have already addressed this. What's additional projects?
What we're going to do, number one, is I requested that last year for $25,000, getting them to approve that. If somebody came in, if some conference came in or something came in and they wanted to do something and they wanted some funding from us, by having those funds already there, I simply could email them and say, hey, this is a request we've had. Are you all in support of this? Get a general consensus on that and move forward because those funds were already there.
So does that serve as more, would that be in the future, would that be on the Visit Canyon side or would that be on the BCD side?
BCD will actually transform. BCD will more or less go away, and it will transform into the Visit Canyon board, like the EDC board. So it will fall to them. And this year, the significant increase in that is associated with, they agreed and we felt like was important. We've put about $50,000 in there for this junior college national championship football game that's going to be played at West Texas A&M, knowing that we want to help them publicize that and form some type of committee to help with that. We wanted to have some funds that would be available for doing that.
The only things we've discussed on that, Cody, it might be nice to have like a nice, I don't remember it, it was before my time, but it'd be nice to have maybe another banner pole again right when you come into town where we have key events. And so that's one thing we've talked about, being our part on doing some of the signage, because signage is allowed under the hotel motel tax. The signage is allowed. Still working with WT, they're trying to get their feet back on the ground with changing leadership. I don't think we'll use that amount, but it's just there to help. But
So
I think
the
one thing we
piece
could
is
do would be
advertising.
a new banner pole across 23rd.
So that WT piece is about advertising.
The WT piece comes, that's through Randy
That's
Reichel
through
and
Reichel.
the administration. Typically, what we see there would be, last year, they were investing in a lot of the stuff that Stephanie is doing as far as who's hitting what, and when you hit this site, then you get a WT ad, all the recruitment, and all of those things that help bring more students to WT. Knowing that our 2 hotels, 2 of the hotels are on WT property, and there. And we also know that we've begun those discussions with them that as we move to a visit program, we'll be scaling that back also. That everything's gonna scale back a little bit, because we see that model with the museum. The museum may not have to buy an ad in Texas Monthly in the future if our Visit Canyon is buying an ad in Texas Monthly, which includes Texas, WT, and all of those things. Now, they may still go buy their ad in the Smithsonian magazine, just make that up, I'm sure there is one. But because that's so particular to the museum.
Right.
So we feel like we'll work with them and coordinate some of that advertising, because as Visit comes forward, and then on their ads, there'll be a Visit emblem, there'll be a Visit logo on their ads also. So everything will be tied together, which we haven't really ever done that before. And that's the goal of trying to bring that together. More of a visitors bureau than a convention bureau. We're not a convention city. We're a
Targeted
meeting-
advertising.
We're a meeting city. It's a great place to come and have your meetings.
We can, obviously, we'll, on the CDC as in the CDC portion of the new Visit website, that Visit website will have all the lodging in town, and then we'll also have all the meeting spaces that we have, which, some are public on WT property and then some are private, but they're all meeting spaces. So we'll advertise all of those spaces to help get people to come in to stay in town. Hey, we have the Shell, or we have, this place that Daryl Carey owns, I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, we have these spaces in our towns to have your group or whoever, or the community center, we've talked internally, do we need to lessen the restrictions on the community center with alcohol? We're having those discussions, but at the end of the day, we're trying to promote all meeting spaces. WT is a little more challenging because it's students first, students first, student first, so it can be a little difficult in scheduling those, but we can still promote it and go with it, especially in the summer. In the summer, we're gonna have some utilization, and so we do need, when talking to some of the consultants, we need to have a year saved up in the hotel motel budget for the Visit. So you just take that and then you use that to go for your budget, and then you just replenish. And so that's what they told us. They learned that lesson, especially during COVID.
Anyway, there's the budget. If you have any questions, be happy to answer those.
Move to approve Board of City Development budget for 24-25.
Motion and a second. All in favor, indicate by raising your right hand. Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
All right, now we're gonna move on to item number 9, which is consider and take appropriate action on Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Board of Trustees election.
Not a lot to say. Most of y'all know the guy in place 11. So all we put up here is just the incumbents on this list. I know 2 of the 4 on that list, but other than that, really don't have much to say on the other ones. You get a vote for each place, correct, Gretchen?
That's correct.
So obviously, y'all know Randy was on this board when he was city manager here, and he was actually chair of that board back then too.
Move to nominate as recommended to the commission for the TMLIRP Board of Trustees election, places 11 through 14.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by raising your right arm. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right. Number 10, consider and take appropriate action on resolution number 1824, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, granting approval of installation of license plate reader cameras in the City of Canyon and authorizing the Chief of Police to execute a multiple use agreement with Texas Department of Transportation. Chief Brush.
That's right. Feeling your JV comment right now.
Happens to the best of us.
That's right. Well, actually, I appreciate Chief letting me come up here and talk about this. I'm definitely a technology guy, And I feel like this is a great opportunity for our department to move forward with some technology improvements. I've got a lot of hopes for this. I think it's going to pay off really well. But I just want to give you a little bit of background. For some time now, well over a year, we've been looking at the possibility of license plate readers for the city. That really kind of came together in February. That there's a substantial cost if you undertake this by yourself. And in February, we were approached by the Panhandle Auto Burglary Theft Unit up in Amarillo that services the top 26 counties. And they were actually applying for a grant that they could bring in agencies for the sole purpose of expanding a license plate reader program. We've decided to take them up on that. We have 8 cameras that are slated for installation inside the city, and that's what the resolution is mostly about today. Is that 5 of those 8 are going to be on TxDOT right away, and TxDOT requires that we get approval in the form of a resolution, as well as agreeing to a multiple use agreement before they will allow us to install those on TxDOT right away. And so I've got those locations. I think were listed actually on the resolution itself. But that's pretty much what we're here to present today.
So what are the cameras gonna do? What are they?
Sure. Yep. So the platform, it's an online platform called Flock Safety, and they will capture the rear of a vehicle, including the license plate. It's not the front because not every state requires a front license plate, so it captures the rear, and then it will store those on their website for up to 30 days. And you can log into the platform. You can do like partial tag searches. So if you only know maybe the first 3 characters, the last 4, or maybe you only know like one, the second character and then the 5th and the 6th, they've got ways you can search it through that. You can actually search based on type of vehicle. So if you're like, I don't know what the license plate is, but I know that it's a black Chevy Tahoe, it will go and search. There's the technology of the platform allows you to pull all those images of similar visual comparison, and then you can just kind of look at them and figure out if that's kind of what you're looking for or not. Where this program really flourishes is in this specific grant. You're looking at over 100 LPRs being installed in the top 26 counties. Just so you're aware, it's about 100 being installed in the next COG down in the Lubbock area. And where this program really comes together, especially for the task force, is going to be having multiple agencies that are covering a wide portion of the Panhandle. So like in the uses that I've had, I've used it myself a couple of times. The first one was when we had a stolen trailer not too terribly long ago. Entered the tag and say, is this hitting on any kind of readers in the area? Didn't come back to anything yet. And then the second one was actually a missing endangered individual. We were able to put it in there. We got a lot of hits, but in South Texas, just based on partial tags. So, we were able to see that the program itself is working. And that's why I feel like it's going to be a great advancement for our department is as more cameras are installed in the area, especially some of the areas we've chosen here in town are going to be like they're very target specific to help with identification of suspects, identification of witnesses. There's missing, endangered, things like that. There's just substantial possibility. I think it's really going to help. We've got 3 cameras we're looking at installing at Walmart. You might be like, wow, that's a lot. It captures every single way to get into Walmart. And why do we pick Walmart? That is by far the highest call volume, single location that we have here. I would suspect that is where we have more thefts than anywhere else in town, like not even close. And so that's good crime prevention, suspect apprehension, identification, in addition to public safety. I think that's a big one. I think, we when it comes to like missing, endangered, like we had in that case, it was a suicidal individual where time is of the essence. This is a program that's very easy to log in, enter in information, and with any luck, you kind of get something to go on.
Is there any worries about infringing upon someone's rights? freedoms?
Sure, so we've got a couple of things. Our policy is very close to being adopted. That's why we haven't rolled it out to the rest of the officers, but just a couple of things that we're doing. Number one, it's a 30-day retention. After 30 days on the platform, those images will start to fall off. So it's not an indefinite storage of images. And then the second is all officers will be trained on how to use it, including the good things to use it on, also the prohibited things to use it on. And then we will be conducting audits on why it's being used by officers, at least on an annual basis, maybe look at it more like twice a year. So we've got some safeguards in place to make sure that we aren't violating the public's trust and at the
What's some
same
of the
time.
prohibited things I can't do?
I'm sorry?
What's some of the prohibited?
Using it for a personal reason. Like, let's say, one of the officers wants to keep track of me. Like, oh, where's Coggins going? And then they could just enter in my information. So like in the example of that, like when we go back and do an audit, there has to be a reason for every single time you enter a license plate. So you have to put like missing person, or you have to put like the incident report number, something like that. That would be probably one of the biggest ones, just making sure it's not being used for personal reasons.
I assume your crediting body will soon have some rules regarding that, won't they?
Yep, and that was a big reason why we had to develop that policy is for artificial intelligence, that is one of the standards for accreditation, and it has to talk about who can authorize it. In our case, recommending that solely Chief Brush is the one, that they have to be trained in order to use it. Have to have a policy in place on how to use it.
Matt, this is similar to what I know DPS sometimes pulls up when we're talking about possible active threats, but it's other states. I haven't ever seen that pulled up for our area, but other states have this process.
So it is a nationwide network. It's still, I'll say this, I'm still pretty early on in the training portion of it. Right now, I know that it is being offered across the country. However, there are certain provisions, I think it was Illinois, if I'm not mistaken, that are prohibited from sharing to other states. So they can share within their state, but they cannot share to other states. Some states have, like as far as like retentions go, the salesman even told me it was like 20 minutes. That's how long they can retain it. The other states are going well into months and beyond. So I think 30 days seems like pretty fair to try to figure out if there's any kind of evidentiary.
Has there been any lawsuits filed against us yet?
I'm sure there have, but I don't know of anything specifically. If it helps, our neighbors to the north, Amarillo Police Department is using the same platform. Lubbock County is using the same platform. And Lubbock Police Department is using the same platform. As far as all the other local, since there was 100 plus going up in the Panhandle, I'm only aware of Pampa. I know they've already got theirs installed, but I don't know specifically who the other towns are.
Is there a cost of the city?
Sure. Yep. So as I think it's important to know kind of what the city's looking at saving on this. Ordinarily, these have about a $3,000 per camera cost, and then there's like a one-time installation fee. I think the first year when I was looking at this initially, I was kind of around the ballpark of about $41,000. Our cost for this year that's been budgeted is $6,900. So we have considerable savings going in on this grant. The idea is that PAB2, which is the auto burglary unit, will be applying for this grant on a repeated basis. My personal opinion, I put a stake there on this one, is I think it is going to be very successful. I think there's going to be a lot of recoveries. Amarillo has been very excited about the success that they've had with their program. I think Canyon is going to see similar successes.
What are some of the other, you've done some investigation, obviously you've been working on policy. What are some of the other negative things about this program that other people are saying?
What can be?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest one, is how are the police going to be using these photos? Are they just going to be sifting through, trying to find something on people? In the answer, I believe we have very good safeguards in place to ensure that that's not going to happen.
And so since I'm assuming you have access to everybody else's flock cameras.
So you actually have to request that. We do have access to some, but there's still a substantial amount that we don't have access to. And that can be up to the agency. However, I'm gonna have to venture, like, I don't know the answer to this, so I just want to clarify that I may be incorrect on this, but I'm gonna venture that part of the agreement with PAPTU is that we're going to agree to share at least with the top 26 counties. Otherwise, it kind of defeats the purpose of the grant.
So what other state or federal agencies would have access to those?
I don't know the answer to that. I can look into that, though. Yeah, I don't know what state or federal agencies are.
Fear, obviously, is that they're not bound by the same, constitutional protections that you put on your agency. Those agencies may not have that same.
Correct, where they could, where they're not conducting audits or training their personnel or things like that.
So the cameras are like the toll road.
Correct. A very similar idea. Yep. Yep. They're very high quality. So that's, with a lot of it, you can see like very clearly the tag that you're looking for. And these are meant to kind of capture multiple lanes at the same time. So like on 87, where we're proposing south of town, is that it'll actually capture both northbound lanes over by the high school, near the second roadside park, right over that one.
I move to approve resolution number 18-2024 as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a motion, a second. Any other discussion? Nope. All right, all in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Any opposed?
I'm gonna abstain. I really don't know what to think about this yet. First I've seen it. Sure, I apologize for that because I can see a lot of problems with this. If you ever get a rogue guy and you get sued, the city's in a, that couldn't not be very good. I know we all got good guys, but you never know. Think about it a little bit.
So if I can add just a couple more comments that may help. All of these are going to be installed in public places, okay? They won't be aimed at capturing cameras or capturing license plate that are going to be like inside a garage or anything like that. All of these you'll clearly pass as you're driving down the road. Most of them are actually, once you start knowing what you're looking for, I've seen a bunch of them in Amarillo. They're not really that hidden. It's just on a big pole. Most of them are going to be solar powered, so they've got that little panel on there, and then they've got the camera as well. I haven't seen any that actually indicate that, like, hey, this is a camera or anything like that. Yeah, I don't know if that helps. Just knowing that they're not going to be, I think, inconspicuous. They'll be clearly seen, only measuring or only taking pictures of vehicles that are on the public roads.
I think Commissioner Lyons is indicating that he's worried about staff misuses of this.
Okay.
Kind of what Commissioner Jones was talking about at the state and federal level, that, I could just spend my whole job just going through, looking through license plate, trying to find something. Type of deal. I think that's what some of their concerns are. The goal of it is to get hits. So if Amarillo has a stolen vehicle, they enter that tag, it crosses 23rd, instant notification. And that stolen vehicle's just at the city limits of Kenyon. That's the intent.
We have a motion that carried, so.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. That's good information. All right. That brings us to item number 11, which is consider and take appropriate action on the creation of a 501c3 for the Kenyon Housing Program. Lucas?
Yes, thank you. So, you maybe ask yourself, didn't we already talk about this and decide a different path? That is the case. We're coming back. We had some more conversations. We initially decided that we would house this under Kenyon Main Street, but after having many different conversations among staff with Kenyon Main Street, with EDC, and having different conversations with potential supporters of the program, We think it's gonna be cleanest and the most straightforward to just create an independent 501c3 that will be called the Canyon Housing Program. So it'll be very straightforward. Initially, it will only house this housing rehabilitation program. In the future, if we have any other housing programs that need to receive funds, it will be eligible for that purpose. And so Chuck has already written up some draft documents that we can move forward with. The process will be first tonight for y'all to ask any questions that you may have. If it does receive the body's blessing, then we will go back, finalize all the paperwork, and then come back to you for an initial board and budget for that nonprofit so that we can go ahead and file those articles of incorporation with the state. And so if anyone has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. I will just let you all know that we've had several meetings to date with local utilities and banks, and we've had great response. Everybody's really excited about this program, wants to partner with us in this program, and knows that it's gonna do a lot of good for the city of Kenyon and our housing stock, so.
And those discussions are about long-term commitments from people, right? As far as people being interested year after year, it's not
That's
just like
exactly
a
right.
one-time.
Yeah, as Joe put it, we're not asking for a really large sum from any one individual organization or business. We're trying to secure something that's really reasonable for each of these partners to be able to engage with and commit to on a long-term basis so that we can keep the program running. Absolutely.
Are there any other commingled, that's not a fair word, but are there any other 501c3s that the city is attached to like that?
Main Street
It's Main Street.
would be the only other one right now. Yes, so it would basically be the same process. Main Street's board is appointed by the city commission in the same way. And so it would be something we brought back to you. Here's the documentation. We'll have a recommended list of board members and then anybody else that you feel like needs to be on that. And then they'll be the ones that will functionally receive the applications and award funds under the program guidelines. Again, very, very similar to Main Street, but that's the only other one.
Lucas did update those income limits. Those are the most, those were updated since the last time y'all saw this.
Yeah, so that's the 2024 HUD numbers for the Amarillo Metropolitan Statistical Area.
Those will be updated annually, those numbers? So those
Yeah, as HUD updates that each year, yeah. And it's based on median income. So every year, the census does the American Community Survey, and that's how they gauge a median income. And then the affordable numbers at base is 80% of the median income. In our program, we give higher priority points if you're at 50%, which is very low income, or 30%, which is extremely low income.
Plus, there are other metrics like seniors, veterans, and disabled.
Yep.
Have higher
Those are
score.
priority populations,
That's correct.
absolutely.
Overwhelming good support. We've had 3 or 4 meetings. I think we've got 6 to 8 more to schedule.
Yes.
Just taking time, but everybody's been incredibly receptive.
And your application or your explanation is very clear on what you can do and what you can't do, because
In the brochure,
it could get confusing on what
absolutely.
someone could do.
Absolutely. Yes, there's a lot there, and the application requires a lot of work, a lot of documentation and paperwork to verify everything that qualifies you for the program.
I move to recommend the City of Canyon form the Canyon Housing Program as a 501c3 for the purposes of receiving tax deductible donations for the Canyon Housing Rehabilitation Program.
Second. All right, I have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Questions? All in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucas. That brings us to item number 12, which is executive session. Session pursuant to 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072, 07087 regarding economic development. 551.072 deliberation regarding real property, and 551.74 personnel matters, board appointments for economic development.
I have 516.
Yes, ma'am. Sounds like a short one.